I'm Limyra Tucker, a student journalist here at Alabama A&M, and today I'm here with...
I'm Kimberly Love. I'm a professor here in the English department at Alabama A&M University.
Okay, and I just want to start off by saying congratulations to you on your upcoming print release of Austin's Creek.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to start off with a couple of questions. So can you tell us a little bit more about your professional background and your role here at Alabama A&M University?
Sure. My professional background, I'd say, began at Tuskegee University, where I studied English language and literature, and I really learned to more critically analyze books. I grew up as a reader, and at Tuskegee, I learned to take a different perspective on books that was less swept away by the narrative and more concerned with how books are put together, how they're interacting with their cultural moment. And then from Tuskegee University, I moved on to graduate school at the University of Virginia, where I was a graduate student, and I also taught English, writing, and I facilitated African American studies courses. My first professorship was in Massachusetts at a liberal arts college called Williams. And after I left there, I came back home. I'm a native of Huntsville, Alabama, and here I am.
That's wonderful to hear. So I heard with both your Bachelor of Arts and your PhD in English, how has your academic or research background influenced your storytelling or writing style?
I'm sure that it has influenced my writing style in ways that I can't even really clearly express because I feel as if all of my life experiences are in my writing. But when I think about writing, I think more about my family than I do about my training. And I think my training just helps me to make it more professional, maybe. But when I'm writing, I'm trying to aim for a certain kind of style and flow that feels at home to me. So if I can hear my aunties, then I know I'm writing well. If I can hear my grandma, then I know I am excelling. And I try to bring those voices with me no matter what I'm writing, whether it's a narrative, an article, even an email I spend time on. I'm not necessarily trying to hear my grandma when I write an email, but I just feel as if because it is my craft, writing, anything that I write is it has a certain kind of dearness to me, and I'm aiming for a certain intention or just a certain posture.
Okay. So can you share with us what inspired you to write Austin's Creek and how the idea for the book came about?
Yes, similarly, I was inspired to write Austin Creek by my family. I spent time away from the professoriate and I moved in with my grandmother for a little over a year, and we were gardening and taking care of her land. And I grew up knowing that I would write a book, but I wasn't sure what it would be about. And my family has always said, "Oh, Kim's going to write about us. Kim's going to write about us." So I don't know if they instilled, planted that seed, or if it was all a part of my original makeup. I think it's both. But during that time, I started going to the courthouse when I had free time and looking at land deeds because I saw a land deed and there was so much information on it that was about my family that I wanted to see more land deeds. And I wanted to know how my great 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 grandfather acquired the first plot of land in this enclave where my family is from. So I started researching at the courthouse. I started asking around to all the elders in the small enclave, and nobody could really answer that question. But I gathered so many other stories that the entire process became like, whoa, like what do I write? Where do I start? What is the story going to be about? Like, how do you if you're talking to a whole enclave of people, even if we're all talking about family, there's no beginning or end or middle. It's just a whole universe of stories. And I thought I was going to write a book about us and in a creative nonfiction style or even just like nonfiction. But one night I was on my way to sleep and I had a dream or right before the dream state. And there was just two people in the dream that I had never seen before. And it kind of struck me and I couldn't go back to sleep until I wrote down what I saw. And it wasn't anything profound. It was just two people in a scene. And when I woke up the next day, I continued to write. And the next day, I continued to write. And so, about a week or so later, I felt like, oh, this may be the book that I'm here to write in this moment. Maybe there's another book about my family. I'm not sure. I know I have the material, I have video, audio, writing. Um, so, like, all of that entire moment, as well as being away from the university, which gave me a certain amount of freedom, like just like breathing space. All of that really inspired the book as well as the dream that I had to keep following and pursuing in order to really give the book its shape as it exists today.
Okay, so I see you're speaking a lot about your upbringing. So, as a Huntsville native, how does Austin Creek reflect your connection to South Alabama or African American history and culture?
Well, it's both and all of that. The environment probably is the first thing that will stand out to readers. It's very earthy and it's primarily set in two places, one in South Carolina and another in Butler County in Georgiana, which is where my family lives on the outskirts of Georgiana. And but the environment in Huntsville allowed me to immerse in an environment and observe and listen. And that landscape is in the book too. So it's a fictional town because I wanted the mountains to be present and the ocean. So, like, Montesano was one of my places where I would go if I ever felt like I don't know how to describe this. I only have a feeling for it. And I would just go walking and get inspiration for what I needed to write. So Huntsville is very prevalent in the book. It's just not explicit or literal. There may be one or two references to like limestone or something that bridges the book into Huntsville. But South Alabama, like the deep South, is more so what I was interested in because that's where I feel ancestrally connected to.
Okay, so without giving away too much, can you give us a quick synopsis of Austin Creek?
Sure, it's a book about a family that is being called to learn pivotal information about who they are as a family. But in order to come into that understanding, they have to go through individual journeys to learn things about who they are as a person, um, each person, and it's the environment that is bringing them into their different revelations, so that the family can come back together in order to create their next chapter as a unit. And I think that's all I'll say.
Okay. So, are there any particular themes or messages in Austin Creek that you hope that will resonate with readers?
Um, there are so many, but I think the most important today for me is circles. There are so many circles um, in the book, in its creation, in the themes. And I think there's a lot that could resonate with different people in different ways, especially if people are attuned to like the complete alignment that I'm aiming for in the book.
So, considering your other scholarly works like Rootwork Journal and Auburn Avenue, what was your writing process like for this book, and how long did it take you from the idea to print?
From idea to print, it's taken me almost 6 years. And compared to the other projects, I mean, this one became so much a part of my life that I wouldn't mind if it took me another year. Um, but it just feels like it's ready. Like it's like you really can't move that comma one more time. Nobody else is showing up, so it's just um, it wasn't a book anymore for me. It was like well, not that it wasn't a book. I don't think that's the right thing to say because it was always very literary, but um, it became very integrated into my life. And even though there were times when I would go 3, 4 months without working on it, I thought about it every day. And I wasn't always even thinking about how it needed to be changed or edited. I was just thinking about it, like thinking about the characters, thinking about the themes, thinking about the questions. And compared to anything else I've ever written, it has a full presence. Whereas other things that I've written, I appreciate, but they don't have such a momentous impact on my consciousness as Austin Creek does.
So, being that you are an author, how do you balance your responsibilities as a faculty member with the demands of writing and publishing?
So I don't balance, I integrate and I prioritize. So if I'm teaching and I'm writing, I know what to do first because I know what's primarily important for me. If I have a deadline, I mean I don't really have any issues with deadlines. I know how to appropriately be ready for them, but I don't really think in terms of balance because I really don't know what that means. I'm better at making sure everything is in its proper place. And I know Austin Creek, if I tried to do a percentage or something, like for me, it would be 100%. It would be 100% Austin Creek, which is why it's kind of time for me to let it go so that I can allow something else in. Um, and I don't think that's another book. I just think that it's another like path that is for me to travel and in that space that Austin Creek once had for me, which is a little sad even to say for me. And I don't know if being able to talk with readers, being able to have interviews will have the same impact as me just working at it.
Okay, so how do you see Austin Creek being used in educational settings, perhaps in literature or cultural studies classes?
I think it could definitely have a place in the classroom. Um, I would be happy to visit classrooms and talk with students about it or about writing. Uh, it's definitely a literary book, which English professors tend to um, want to teach more than something that's more plot driven or something that's more formulaic. And it has really rich questions. And there are other fields even that I think would gravitate towards it, especially as we move towards more interdisciplinary work and realize that the creative arts should have a place. It already does have a place in fields of study that seem to be less creative or less artistic. That when we bring the creative arts to them, it enriches the whole program. So I'm hoping that people, even in different fields than English or cultural studies, even will find value in the work. And it's not a very long work, so I hope that also makes it more teachable.
Okay, so once again, congratulations to you again on your novel. As one of the recipients of the 5,000 South Arts Literary Arts Program grant, can you share how you felt and what that means to you and Austin Creek to be one of the South Arts Literary Arts Program grant awardees?
It was really exciting. It felt like it was affirming because of that South Arts label. I really appreciate being able to say and put in the book itself that it's supported by South Arts because it's a Southern book, not just because it's set in the South or because I'm from the South, but because it's really trying to um, give a certain acclaim to what it means to be Southern. And it's connecting the South to um, its spiritual foundations. Um, and so I really was grateful that the judges for the South Arts could see its potential. And thank you, South Arts. Yeah.
Okay. So, how can the AAMU community and broader public support the release of Austin Creek?
Oh, read the book, share it. Let me know what you think about it. I would be grateful for any of those three or all three.
Support is free. Support is free. All right. So, as you look forward to your upcoming essay in the Southern Quarterly, do you have plans for a sequel or other projects in the works?
No, my next project is hopefully not literary in nature. If there is another book, it's probably a children's book, and I don't see it happening anytime soon.
So, how can readers find Austin Creek and where when it's officially released?
AustinCreekonline.com.
Okay. So, will there be a book launch event or a reading plan that we can look forward to?
Maybe at its 1 year anniversary.
Okay. And lastly, thank you so much, Dr. Love, for speaking with me today and allowing J.F. Drake Memorial Learning Resources Center to spotlight one of Alabama A&M's own. So I would like to close by yielding the floor to you to share any advice you would like to give to aspiring writers, especially those in academia, or perhaps tell us a little bit about the Legacy Collective and where can people follow your work.
Okay. I'll speak to the writers last. For Legacy Collective, it's a network for writers who want to publish but want to maintain a certain amount of creative control that you have to give up if you traditionally publish most often, or even if you go with an independent publisher. There are contracts and many avenues that you have to go through in order to go through that route, and a lot of people are finding it to not be as fulfilling as it seems. So since it took me so long, I also spent time just researching, joining conferences or groups and going to conferences about publishing. So along the way, I started to help other people who wanted to publish, and I primarily help people with editing and with ghostwriting, although I can help from idea to publication. But ghostwriting and editing tend to be what people need the most. And legacycollectivebooks.com is where you go to find me if you are looking for any kind of publishing support. I work with a small team. The other two people on my team are also published writers and or retired teachers. So we have a very good rapport, and when neither one of us are in it for like to get rich. So we take our time and we really are looking for people who understand the timeless nature of books. We all love books. So that tends to work very well because people, it's fine to write however you want to write and on whatever kind of time skill you're on, but the people who stay with us are ones that really want something that's valuable and that want to write something that's valuable that could outlast their lifetime. They really think about books in that way. And we help them to not just get technical support, but we help them to also heighten the content of their books. So that's the Legacy Collective that was birthed really before Austin Creek. Um, for writers here or elsewhere, I'd say there's a lot of information about being a writer, but the best information that you're going to get is going to come from yourself. So write and figure out what you need in order to be a complete person, because that's the only thing that's going to really improve your writing. You can learn all the grammar rules that there are, but that doesn't help you become a strong storyteller. Um, and then the other thing that I would say is listen. Listen to everything. Um, that doesn't mean you don't have boundaries and you don't have principles. But once you have your boundaries set and your principles set, so you weed out garbage, then listen to everything around you.
Okay, once again, congratulations to you, and it was so nice interviewing you today, Dr. Love.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.